welcome to episode 9 of the Salapaloosa Knits video cast. My name is Elizabeth and I'm coming to you from the beautiful city of Bergen, which is located in the western part of Norway. And this is a knitting video cast primarily, but I do tend to talk about some different crafty bits and bobs like crocheting or maybe even some sewing coming your way, because I got the most amazing sewing machine for Christmas from my wonderful boyfriend, and yes, I'm just getting into it right now, but I'm sure I'll make sure to show you some things once I get my hands a bit dirtier. Yes, so if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. That means the world to me. And if you're a new viewer, thank you so much for stopping by and for giving my podcast a chance. Yes, and let's just jump into it, shall we? Or actually, I should say, before we do that, if you do want to get in touch with me in any way, there are several ways to do that. If you have any questions or inquiries or collaborations or things like that, please pop me an email at salapaloosaknits@gmail.com. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that is absolutely where I am most active. I am Salapaloosa Knits on Instagram, and my Ravelry is Salapaloosa. And I've gotten a couple of questions from people asking if it's okay to is it okay to message me or send me a friend request on Ravelry and so things like that, and that's just absolutely lovely. Please continue to do that, no worries at all. It's just a pleasure. Yes, what else? Let's just jump into it. Grab your knitting and I'll grab some coffee in this insanely large mug, which looks like something you could wash your hair in, more than a coffee mug, but it does the job, and I think it's quite pretty to look at, which is yes, it's makes it quite hard for me to stop using it, even though it's ridiculous and gigantic, and my coffee reaches about here in this mug. So it's a bit of a waste of space, I guess, but it's beautiful and it's good to drink from, so yeah, who cares? Alright, here we go. First of all, I want to start off with the project that I showed you last week that I just started working on. It's a test knit and it's called Snöstjernegenser. And it is designed by the lovely Anna Knits on Instagram. I will put her full name and her Instagram tag in the bottom of the screen. And this is a test knit that I am enjoying so much to work on. It's been just a pleasure, really. This is not the first test knit that I have done for her. She is a brilliant designer, and I do consider her one of my dear knitting friends, and it's been just a pleasure, really. So let me just jump right into it. First of all, last week I showed you one of the arms. I guess I can just show you really quickly again. I have finished last week. I showed you this arm that I had finished. It's got this lovely little lace detailing there and a very long rib section, which I love because it hugs your sleeves, the sleeves hug on your wrists a little bit, which I love. So I can't wait to wear it. And in large part, that's because of this little lovely detailing there, which I'm super excited about. And I have also started the second sleeve. I'm not all the way there yet, but not too far away either. The needles, oh, dropped a stitch there. Let's do some emergency picking up live here on the camera. There we go. I am knitting the sleeve on my high sharps, This is the, let me just double check it, sorry. This is the 4.5mm, which is the US 7. And the needles, if you are a returning viewer of the podcast, you know that these needles are my absolute favourites. I use them for practically everything, and I know a lot of people feel like they are way too sharp, but I think that suits me very well. I love the speed I get from working on it. I feel like it's like greased lightning. I just love it. It speeds up, and yes, it's lovely. So that's that. Now to the yarn. The sweater is knit out of one strand of this lovely Norwegian yarn called Lille Lerke. It is by Dale Garn, and the colorway, the color name, sorry, is what is it? I couldn't find it. Just there we go. It's not named. It's just numbered. It's called 8120. And it's this gorgeous pale yellow colour, and it is a real joy to work with. This is the first project that I knit out of this yarn, and I really like it, and I will probably make sure to knit some more projects in this yarn. And the other skein, I can see that I completely forgot to grab an extra, or did I? No, false alarm, I got it right here. This is the other strand. It's called Air. It's by De Store Alpaca, and the line is called Dreamline, and the exact yarn is called Air. And this is the color number DL106, and it is a Surrey alpaca nylon blend. Sorry, I forgot to mention what type of yarn the other one was. It is a 53% merino and a 47% Egyptian cotton. And the other one, like I said, the air yarn, is a 78% Surrey alpaca and 22% nylon blend. So there you have them together. And I really love the idea of doing something in this sort of yellowish green colour, and maybe pairing something on a bit more of the yellow side with something very green, and to see how that played together. And I do love the way it turned out. Now, if you watched my latest episode 8, you will know that I went on a trip to Rome last week, and I'll talk a bit about that in the end of the episode. But to keep a long story short, I bought the sleeve, or yarn for the sleeve, and some extra needles to start working on the airplane on the way down to Rome. And it was quite brilliant, and most of what you can see on that second sleeve I actually did on the plane. So I got quite a bit of work done in it. Whilst in Rome, I didn't really knit anything at all. So this was all done on the flight down, and yes, it was. I love bringing my knitting on travels, because on the airport there's so much waiting, and it's just so wonderful to have something to grab and to work on, and the entire time you're just waiting and waiting. It doesn't really feel like a waste. So I was very pleased with that. But then when we were in Rome and planning our trip home again, I looked up the rules on the airport as to what items you're allowed and not allowed to bring into the security area, and I read that at this airport, it was the Leonardo da Vinci airport in Rome, you weren't allowed to bring knitting needles, and I was so sad about that, because we had to land in Oslo before we travelled home to Bergen, and so the trip home was quite long, and I just really wanted to work on my knitting and finish the sleeve, and yes, but anyways, turned out I couldn't, so I left it at home. No, sorry, I left it in the bag I was shipping, the check-in bag. And the first thing that happens when I walk through the security area and we locate our gate, the first thing I see is a woman heading for the same plane that we were, with her knitting. And I just exclaimed, probably a little bit too loudly, "But she's knitting!" And yes, I guess I probably jumped the gun a little bit on that one and could have maybe called the airport, I don't know, but my Italian isn't really all that good, so I was afraid that I wouldn't really get the proper answers, because you know, knitting isn't really that big of a hobby in Italy as it is in Norway. And actually on the plane down there were so many women knitting. The plane left from first we travelled to Oslo, and then we jumped a plane to Rome from there. And on the train from Oslo to Italy to Rome, there was just so many women knitting. No men though, but a lot of women knitting. And just from where I was sitting, I was knitting, and then on the other side of the aisle there was another woman knitting, and then there was only one row ahead of us, but on that row there were 3 women and they were all knitting. And the stewardess on the plane, there was a male stewardess on the plane, and he actually stewardess, what am I saying? A male stewardess. I'm sorry, it's called a steward. I don't know why I said that. Maybe I need some more coffee. There was a steward on the plane, and he actually talked to the 3 women knitting on in front of me, and actually talked about how strange it was, and is this really a popular thing to do in Norway, and that's so interesting. And he said that, you know, Italy is very fashion forward, and maybe that's why knitting hadn't really taken off like in Italy as it had in Norway. And I just sat there thinking, like, knitting is very fashion forward. You don't know what you're talking about. It was quite funny. I'm just gonna have a sip here. Alright, so that was the plane knitting. So back to, sorry about that, I just tend to go on a bit of a tangent now and then. But back to business, my beautiful test knit that I am so excited about. Yes, so it's called the Snöstjernegenser. Like I said, I have showed you the yarn, and I've showed you the needles. Now, when I got home, I started working on the body of the sweater, and it's knit from the bottom up. As this is a test knit, the pattern has not yet been released, but I promise I will let you know the moment that it is. And let me just see here. Well, first of all, I can show you this project is living in this beautiful bag by Give Me a Crown on Etsy. I love this large handle that you got here, and it's closed by snaps, and this is her logo. I really love this bag. I will most definitely get some more of her bags. I think they're so well made and so easy to carry around, and they fit in your bag or purse really easily, and you know, when you store them they don't really take any room at all because it's completely soft. So that's a project bag it's living in. And so I've started knitting on it. Now what am I saying? I didn't start it when I got back, but it was sort of in hiatus while I was traveling. But I've knit the entire bottom of the the jumper, and I have also separated for the front and back piece here. So I'm working on the front piece right now, and I'm just about to split for the shoulders. So I'm just going to purl back, and then I'm going to start working on both of the shoulders, and then there's the back piece and the neckline, and then it's the assembly part. I'm just going to show you a little bit more up close, see if I can do that, because this pattern is stunning. It's this gorgeous lace pattern going all the way into probably the middle of the chest, I'd say, and I think it's just going to look really, really lovely when it's finished, and I'm really excited about wearing it. So there you go. Now the back piece won't have the lace on it. It's going to be just, sorry, my needles are sticking in everywhere. Just plain stockinette, that's not a needle, hello. Yes, so it's just stockinette stitch on the back, and it's also got this lovely, lovely ribbing that's also on the sleeve that I showed you, and I'm just so pleased with the way that looks, and I think it's going to wear really beautifully as well. So I'm very excited about that, and I've gotten quite a bit of work done on it, I guess. I had to do this part after I split for the front and back piece. This lace part here, I think I had to redo that 3 times, because I brought it with me to a friend and we were just talking, and I was knitting on this, and I didn't really pay too much attention to the knitting, and so I basically made my own lace pattern and skipped one of the pattern rows. So I had to think back 2 times. So this is my 3rd time knitting it, and this time it's perfect. So 3rd time's the charm. Yes, I guess that's pretty much all I'm going to say about that. I will come back to the needles in a little bit. We'll talk about that in acquisitions, I think. So don't hold your breath, I still have some more knitting to show you, but I really want to talk about these needles a little bit more. So we'll wait on that. So hopefully by next week I might actually have this finished. No promises though, but I'm hoping I will, because I really want to wear it as well, and of course I do love working on it, so I wouldn't mind if it took a little bit longer, but I still really want to wear it. I'm really excited about it. Yes, I think that's probably what I'm going to say about that for the moment, and we'll come back to it next week. Now, for my next project, this is a new project that I just started after the previous episode. It is a little baby cardie, and it is a pattern by a Norwegian designer called Hoppestrik, which translates something like jump knit or something like that. And I'm just going to pop in a picture right here of what it's supposed to look like when it's finished. It's called the Raspberry Jacket, Bringebærjakken in Norwegian, and I'm knitting it out of, sorry, I forgot to bring out a brand new ball of this yarn, so pardon for the wonky look of this, but it's in this lovely, lovely mauve colour. The colour in Norwegian is called Gammelrosa. This is a Norwegian yarn brand, and it's the same one that made this one that I just showed you. Now, this one is basically a plumper version of this one, so it doesn't really say the yarn weight on it, but the recommended needle size for this one is a metric size 2.5 or 3, and this one is a 4. So that will give you an idea. It's 50 grams, it's 125 yards and 115 meters, and I really enjoy working with this as well, just like the other one. It's called Lerke. It's by Dalegarn. The other one, as you might recall, was called Lille Lerke, so it's just a thinner version of this one. And the jacket itself, it's knit back and forward, and it's, let's see here, let me just untangle it for a second. It looked a bit like a mess. So this is how far I've gotten on it. It's not very far, but it's still, it's a decent amount, I guess. Hopefully you can see the lovely patterning on here. Living on this cardie is my lovely vampire stitch marker by Jiggles and Beans. I really love that one. It glows in the dark as well, so that's just perfect for my playful heart. And yes, I think it's just going to look adorable once it's finished. I'm knitting this out of the smallest size. I think it is, let me just double check here, it's 6 months. So this is the 6 month size, and I'm knitting this out of the Knit Pro Cubics Nova needles in the 4mm, and I think that's a 6 US 6. Don't quote me on that, I'm not 100% sure. It doesn't really show off that well, I think, because of I haven't fastened any of the threads, sewn in any of the threads or anything, but I think it's going to look quite lovely, and I do quite enjoy the construction of this, as it's a little bit different. You do knit back and forth, but you increase for the raglan on the bottom because of the patterning and things like that, so it's a little bit different, and that's enjoyable. That's all I'm going to say about that. Don't want to give away any of the secret sauce. I will say, however, that I did find the pattern itself to be quite messy, to be quite honest. I've talked to quite an extent in the past about the way Scandinavian knitting patterns tend to be a bit hard to follow, because they just assume that you know what they mean, and they might say just decrease and not specify what type of decrease. Is it supposed to be a leading decrease or not, and things like that. And if you're an experienced knitter, that's not a problem, but if you're a bit of a novice knitter, that is very frustrating. And I when I first started knitting again, I found that immensely frustrating, and I did think that this pattern could be clearer, and I would probably classify myself as a bit of an experienced knitter at this point, but I still found the pattern to be a little bit confusing, and I had to read it several times because I felt like the succession that the pattern was written in just didn't make any sense to me. And so you may be on page 4, and then you had to go back to page 1 to find the pattern for something, and then you had to go back, and it was just, yes, it wasn't my favorite. I thought that could be written a lot clearer, but you know, that's just my personal opinion. You might feel completely different about it, and you might think it's very clear, I don't know. But to me, I'm a bit of a stickler for that sort of thing. I like things to be clear and just very clean, and sort of, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about it, but I do love the way that it's turning out. I really enjoy working on this, both because of the needles and because of the way that the jacket itself actually turns out. I loved working the pattern. It's a 4-row repeat pattern, and I found it to be very it's very easy to memorize, and so you don't really need to pay too much attention to it, but it's still a little bit of interest, so that's good. Yes, what else should we say about it? The design is very lovely, so for that I am very pleased. Here it is. Here's the extra fold, the full skein. I'm sorry, it was right here all along. Lot of false alarms today. Now this project is living in this lovely bag by Busy Pottering. It's this Sleeping Fox bag. This is one of my favorite project bags. I think it's called a long sock bag, so it's a little bit elongated. It's got this lovely D-clasp on here, which you can add stitch markers or things like that. I'm actually going to do that right now, because I do enjoy having, there we go, we have a handbag on there. Yes, and it's got this lovely pink lining, and it's got another clasp inside, which I really love. I love the detailing on this bag. Like I said, it's by Busy Pottering on Etsy, and I will most definitely get more of her project bags. I'm so pleased with this one. And just look at that adorable fabric. It's quite lovely. I wonder if it's the Rifle Paper Co. fabric, I'm not sure. It's beautiful anyways. So that little sweater is living in this bag, and yes, I think that's all I'm going to say about that for now. And with that, I think we're actually going to move on to acquisitions. How long have we been talking? We're closing in to half an hour now. I felt like this would probably be a shorter episode, but once again, when I keep rambling, something happens and the time passes. Who knew? Okay, so let's just jump into the acquisitions, because I've got a couple of things that I'm so excited to show you this week. First of all, like I said, with the sweater, I would come back to the needles, and this is the moment. I'm just going to show you what I got. Are you ready? Can you tell I'm excited? Oh yeah! Oh yeah! I got the Flicker exchangeable needle set, and I'm so excited. When we were in Rome, I kept looking for yarn and places to go and get yarn, but I didn't get any. I did eventually find a store that had some yarn. It was a sewing shop right next to this amazing bakery, but all they had was just a shelf of a little bit of Rowan yarn, and I could just very easily pick that up here, and it wasn't really that special. And I mean, no, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy working with Rowan yarn, but there was no reason for me to get it in Rome. So right before we were leaving, I got a message that said, or an email and some sort of notice, I think, saying that there's this Norwegian shop called Garnsur, which makes this amazing yarn that I've shown off quite a few times in the past, because I absolutely love their yarn. I knit my monkey socks out of their yarn, if you can remember those. Head over to Instagram if you want to see what I'm talking about. And I decided that, you know what, I didn't get any yarn. I've been so good. I haven't really spent any money at all on this trip. I didn't do any shopping pretty much at all, except for gelato and pasta and biscotti. So I felt like maybe I should just order something to sort of order something while I was on the trip instead. And so when I got the mail that shop Gonzo had gotten in a new shipment of these needles, I stopped in the middle of the street and I just got right into the website and I put the needles in the shopping cart and checked out within, I think, maybe 40 seconds or something like that. It was insane. And I've been drooling over this set for so long, and I just jumped, really. I know that they also got 2 other different sets in different colours. There was one in this umber, really pale colour, and another one in blue, and in those kits the needles were also sort of slight blue or slight umber, and they were very lovely. I thought that they looked great and were very beautiful, but I just really love this original one with the beautiful driftwood needles. And just let me show you, first of all, the amazing needles. Just look at these needles. Are they not just the most beautiful needles that you have ever seen? Usually I don't enjoy interchangeable needles. I haven't really found any that I truly enjoy working with and haven't had any issues with. I love the Nick Pro Carbons, but I found that they tend to get loose in the joints, and I loved working on the Nick Pro Cubics, but they break for some reason. And I did try these Lycra needles. I tried them, as I've talked about in the past. I ordered a couple of different ones, different sizes to work with, and they were not the interchangeable ones. But I thought that I would just jump and try them because I really love working on the non-interchangeable one, the fixed circulars. So this set, it ranges from it's a 3.5 millimeter all the way up to 7 millimeter needle, which is gigantic. So it's a 4 US 4 to a US 17, and these large ones are really gigantic. I have no idea when I'm going to use them, but you know, there might be a moment. I actually have a sweater that I knit on 12 needles, come to think of it. Now let's just take a moment, now that we have been given the needles some proper time for admiration. Let's just talk about this case, because I find that knitting needle cases that come with these interchangeable kits are quite grim, quite often. And this one is just so beautiful, and it's got this very sturdy zipper here, and you can put quite a bit of things in there. I think I was thinking I could put a gauge ruler in there, and maybe a couple of stitch markers, or maybe a little scissor or something like that. And then there's this lovely pouch here, which extends, so you can fit quite a bit in there. And down in here we have the cables, and sorry about the crinkling here if you don't enjoy that. I quite like the crinkling. Some stoppers and a couple of more stoppers there, some extenders somewhere in here, and you know the sort of locks, I don't know what you call those things that you screw tight the needles to the wires. Now I think that maybe the wires are a teensy bit stiff, but at the same time I don't think it's too much. I tend to like a very flexible wire, and these, like the higher or the Ravelry cables, these are definitely a lot stiffer, so I'm thinking that it could be a problem with kinks, but I haven't had a problem yet. And these are obviously the needles that I'm now knitting my test knit on, and so far I really love working on them. The joints are so smooth, and I really enjoy them. I think they are lovely to work with, they're lovely to hold. I would probably prefer the tips to be a little bit sharper, but you know, you can't have it all. And they're a little bit blunt, but not really blunt, just blunt when you compare them to the higher shops. So yes, I'm so excited. I'm so excited about these, and I'm so glad that I got them. This is my first interchangeable kit, and I usually tend to lean towards the metal needles more than the wooden ones, but these were, when I got the fixed circular ones, these were the first needles that I really enjoyed working with in wood. And like I said, I do like the Cubics needles from Knit Pro and Knitter's Pride as well, but this was just a game changer when it came to wooden needles for me. Yes, I feel like I could just go on and on and on and on and on about these needles, but I won't airburn you. I can't promise that this isn't the first. I mean, this is the first time, but I can't promise that it will be the last time that I will talk about these needles, because I'm so excited. Funny story. My set was actually missing the 3.5mm needles. I guess that doesn't really happen. It was just a total fluke accident. But I messaged the store, and they were very forthcoming, and they were going to ship me the missing one right away. So hopefully that will be there maybe tomorrow, maybe on Monday. It's Thursday today. We'll see. We'll see. Anyways, let's move on with the acquisitions. This was, by the way, the most fun thing to, when I got home, this was waiting for me in my mailbox, so that definitely took away the whole coming home from vacation sort of blues. So that was very fun, highly recommend it. Alright, so some more acquisitions. I wanted to show you some skeins of yarn that I have gotten over the last week. First of all, I got this stunning, lovely and so much fun skein from Stranded Dye Works. If you don't know, Stranded is run by Amy Edwards Green, who is the charming host of the Stranded podcast, and her website is strandeddyeworks.co.uk. And this lovely skein is called Heliograph, and it's on her Fjord base, which is a 80/20 superwash BFL and nylon. So it's going to be just the most amazing sock yarn. It's got a very beautiful twist to it, and it's just, I think it's so much fun. How much fun is this colourway? It's brilliant. I love it. It's like it's going to be a party on my sock needles when I cast this on. I absolutely love it. Now the yardage is 365 meters and 400 yards. I absolutely adore all of Amy's yarn. I love working with it, and her sense of colour is just amazing. Yeah. This is my first time working on the Fjord base. It's the first skein I've gotten on the Fjord base, so I'm very excited about that. I love how plump it is, and I do also really much love this gorgeous twist. And I mean, the colours are just spectacular. So that's that. Stranded Dye Works, go check her out. And the next thing I want to show you is something a lot of fun and very weird. I found this shop on Etsy called Starfiber Studios. That was new to me, and I just browsed quickly through their shop, and I just fell in love with so many of the colorways. I just kept adding to favorites, adding to favorites, add to favorites, add to favorites, all the way down probably most of their colorways. And then there was one that just really stood out to me, and I just had to order it, and it's called Heatherfield, and it's a sock yarn that's 75-25 superwash merino nylon. But here's the fun part: when I got it, it was completely flat, and the yarn is usually in this bit of a plump, fun envelope that you can absolutely, with certainty, know that it's yarn and it's squishy and everything like that. But this was completely flat. It was just a flat, hard envelope. And then I opened it, and she vacuum packed the yarn. What? Have you ever seen that before? I'm just going to show you. Look at this. How cool is that? I just thought that this was so delightfully weird and strange that I just had to do this live. I had to open this vacuum pack on the camera so that I could show you, in case you're like me and haven't seen a vacuum packed skein of yarn before, because I just thought that it looked quite hilarious. And now that I've seen it, I'm going to open it with my little stalk scissors. I'm so excited about this. I guess, oh, it's making a sound. Oh, it's puffing up. Can you see that? Oh, this is so exciting. Oh, oh my goodness. This is probably... Oh, look at that. Oh, it's not even... It hasn't been tied. It's just... Whoa. Look how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. These colours are just... What? Look at this. Oh my goodness. Can you see this? These amazing colours. That is just ridiculous. Oh my goodness. I want to knit all the things out of this yarn. I want to knit sweaters and shawls. I'm not really a big shawl knitter, but obviously now I have to be, because I need a shawl in this yarn. My goodness, that's amazing. I'm just going to twist it up and see how it's going to look in the... Let's see, this is awkward to do on camera. See how it looks in the skein. Oh wow, look at that. Oh my goodness, look at that. Whoa. Okay, I'm totally just gushing and awing and eyeing here, but this is amazing. So let's see what this says. Each skein is hand dyed and therefore unique, absolutely. The base is called Stella Sock, and it's 75-25 merino nylon. Yes, so here's the card, Starfiber Studios. You should obviously go check them out, both because this is just ridiculously gorgeous. This is the Heatherfield colorway sorry, tongue-tied, Heatherfield colourway. That was hard to say for some reason. Heatherfield. And also because if you get one, you get this vacuum packed yarn. That was just so much fun to open. I'm gonna have to get some more of that yarn. I think I might do that today actually, because I mean, does the world know about this yarn dyer or not? Because I haven't heard about them before, but obviously they're amazingly talented, and this skein is just gorgeous. I'm so excited about this. And it was so much fun to open it and see the way that, first of all, when you cut into it, it made this sort of wheezing sound. And also you can see that it slowly started to sort of puff up. It's like watching popcorn pop when you're a kid. Beautiful. Thank you so much, Starfiber Studios. I absolutely adore it. I also get another little thing from them. Let's see where I put that. I think it's in the Give Me a Crown project bag. Just give me a second. Yes, here it is. Here's their logo, by the way. It's very, very cute and charming. It's a little sheep with a wrap around its neck, and it's a little stitch marker. Now you know that I do love my stitch markers, and this one is so much fun. It's called Galaxy Bubble, and it's made out of this little glass bubble with confetti stars in it. So yes, lovely little stitch marker there, and it's quite reasonably priced, which is always a big plus. And yes, I think that might be it for the acquisitions this week. I do have a couple of other things that I want to show you, but I can see that I've already been talking for quite a while, and I should probably start to wrap this up. Yes, I can blabber on a little bit about Rome, I guess. It was my first time in Rome. It was magical. I loved the city. I'm very drawn to arts and architecture and sort of art history and things like that. So Rome is basically the perfect city for me to visit. We saw the Pantheon and the Colosseum and just so many beautiful things, the Spanish Steps, and I think my favourite was probably the Trevi Fountain, which you know, I've seen a lot of pictures of it before, but I had no idea how large it was. And everything in Rome is quite large, so I was expecting there to be some scale to the fountain, but not in the way that it was. It was ginormous. It was so big, and it made quite an impression. And we saw it once by day, and we actually went back to see it by night when we were going for an evening walk. We didn't live too far away from the Trevi Fountain, so that worked out very well. And it was beautiful, really. I highly recommend going to Rome. Everybody was so sweet and welcoming and talkative and lovely, and we speak just a couple of words of Italian, but it was no problem at all. The Italians in Rome seemed to love to speak English, or at least had no problem with it, so that worked out really well. And yes, we just enjoyed having some time off, and we walked around to all these beautiful sights, and we ate chocolates and biscotti and wine and excellent coffee and pasta and a lot of gelato. I tried to put some pictures up on Instagram stories last week. If you follow me on Instagram, you probably saw that. And we found this amazing gelato place. If you're planning a trip to Rome, I will send me a message and I will tell you where to find it. We were also super happy about our hotel, which was wonderful. It had just the most brilliant breakfast and a wonderful rooftop terrace with a restaurant and a bar, and it was just great. So if you need a hotel recommendation, pop me a message and I will make sure to give you one. Yes, I think we're just going to wrap it up, because I can feel myself just slowly easing away into this Rome dream space of just biscotti and coffee and gelato and pasta and wine. So I'm just gonna stop myself before I just keep rambling on for an hour. Yes, I'm sorry about the bit of a weird schedule that the podcast has had recently. I don't know, week is the same for me, and I work a lot of extra shifts at the psychiatric hospital where I work, so it's not really easy for me to pick a podcasting day to record and to stick with it, because my schedule tends to change quite a bit throughout the week. But I will try to put up a video for you every week. So I'm sorry if the day changes and that's inconvenient for you, but if you subscribe you will get a notice, or if you subscribe and activate the little bell thingy on the screen, you will get a notice when there's a new episode up. Yes, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time with me to talk about these things that I love and I'm so passionate about. It's a lot of fun for me, and it's always a lot of fun to get feedback and get in contact with you guys. So let me know if there's something you want to see more of, or something, yes, or things like that. Yes, if you had fun as well, please press the subscribe button. It does mean a lot and it helps me to develop the podcast. And come follow me on Instagram. I'm Salapaloosa, that's where all the fun happens. And yes, I hope you have a lovely week with tons of knitting and gelato as well, if you have access to that. Have a good week. Bye.